One of the game genres that I played a ton of growing up were beat 'em up games. I used to love games like Streets of Rage, especially even games like Final Fight. Those were ones that I played over and over and over again growing up. And that genre over the years has kind of faded. And one of the cool things about Arcade1up is that they've brought back a lot of those retro games on a bunch of the different units that I own, and I've been really enjoying rediscovering some of them with my son, as well as discovering some new ones. And one game in particular that stood out for me that probably gets the most play in my arcade, not just between me, but people who are trying something new in my arcade, is The Punisher. And in this video, I'm going to go over what I believe makes that game one of the best beat-em-ups ever made in that genre, and some of the things I really, really enjoy about it, and why I keep going back and playing it. Let's take a look. The Punisher originally came out in 1993, I believe, in the arcades. Unfortunately, it was not a game that I got to discover when I was younger. So this to me only really came about when I purchased the Marvel Superheroes Arcade1up cabinet a number of years ago. And one of the things that immediately popped out to me when I started playing it was how smooth it felt. So I was a big Final Fight guy growing up. I liked that game a lot, but compared to this game just feels really smooth and refined versus some of the other Capcom beat-em-ups of that era. The other thing as well is the game itself does a fantastic job of distilling what makes a beat-em-up fun and not overdoing it. So I know that one of the reasons I've really enjoyed this and why this game to me has become a staple really of my home arcade is the fact that it varies up the combat just enough so nothing ever really feels overdone. So the game switches between brawling or beat 'em up like fist fighting to gunplay pretty much seamlessly. I think as I can tell, whenever anyone else has a gun, you're allowed to pull your gun out, and it's really smooth to use the guns. It doesn't force you to aim, it auto aims for you. You just move the joystick back and forth and you can shoot guys, and then once they're done with their weapons or there's no more guys with guns, you can actually jump back in and just keep fighting as normal. But the game, in my opinion, what makes it special is Capcom really mastered pacing between these different combat styles throughout the game. So it really makes it feel always exciting to constantly go through different levels, as well as the game itself. The levels are just the perfect size to jump in, jump out, and play. The other thing is, with a secondary player as well, this game definitely really shines. So you get between the Punisher and Nick Fury, and your whole task is to take on Kingpin. And playing with a secondary player, this game is truly impressive. My son and I, we've played through this game probably 30, 40 times at this point. It's most certainly in my home arcade the most played game that I have, not just by me, but by others who visit as well. And I think Capcom took a lot of liberties. I was a Punisher fan growing up, but they added a bunch of different characters I don't recall being in the comics, a bunch of different bad guys that I don't think were ever in the comics, like robots and humanoid guys that you fight. But honestly, it really makes this game feel so much more fun, and there's different enemies with different approaches that you have to take. And I ultimately, to me, of all the beat-em-ups that I've ever played, this is one that I truly haven't felt like I've gotten bored of, and I find feels fresh almost every single time I jump back in and play it. Unfortunately, I believe that this was only released on the Marvel Superheroes cabinet. I don't think the Punisher made its way to any other Arcade1up units, which kind of sucks because to me, this was one of the shining games on that cabinet and one of the best examples of the golden age of Capcom beat-em-ups, in my opinion. So if you haven't played this, or you're looking at a Marvel Superheroes cabinet, or you just want to emulate the game through whatever means you can do that through, I heavily recommend trying this game out, as I think it's a fantastic beat 'em up, a fantastic multiplayer game, and something that in my home arcade we're gonna keep playing probably into the lifespan of me doing this.